Alright, just a little update on what we got going on out here at the farm. We're clearing a spot back here for putting up a metal building. My brother's going to put a shop out here so he can put his screen printing stuff in there, and we can do welding and woodwork and stuff like that. So we've got this big clearing right here. We're going to try to put a 2,100 square foot building in here. So it took us a couple days with my little chainsaw to get these trees down. That was probably the biggest one over there. And cutting up a bunch of it into firewood, because I'm gonna have a wood stove in my place and he's gonna have one in his shop. And then we're just burning the brush here. And thinking about getting a Alaskan chainsaw mill for making some planks out of these bigger trees, because I just hate to waste them. I mean, just turn them into firewood seems like kind of a waste for some of these bigger, older trees. Surprisingly, like this tree here, this is an oak, a white oak, and I thought it was only gonna, wasn't that big around. I thought it was maybe 30 years old. Turns out it's more like 45 or 50 years old. And that tree over there was about 60 years old by counting the rings anyways. So we pretty much got this clearing done. We're leaving these stumps because we're gonna have to have a bulldozer in here to do some dirt work and stuff to prep for the pad anyways, and hopefully they can rip these stumps out no problem. So today we're actually going to go along over here and cut down some of these trees and make the road a little bit wider so we can get concrete trucks and stuff back here. So that's what we're doing out here on the farm. Well, 3 or 4 hours of work later, and we got this road widened up. I'm going to have the bulldozer clear that stump out there, and I think there's a couple more stumps in there, and the road's going to kind of weave a little bit for good feng shui. And got this little spot cleared out over here for the big trucks to be able to pull in, and back over there where the pad's going to be. Basically, we're separating the firewood. Got a bunch of firewood. We're going to split a lot of that for wood stove, and got a bunch of poles here that I use for making lattices and fences and stuff. Going to use those for that, and just burning up the brush and blowing and going. Okay, today we are going to be cutting down this area right in here. Here's the original home site, and the road comes back here. That's where Caleb's going to put his shop over there. We're going to try to clear out around this big oak tree here because it's a real stately looking tree, and we're also going to try to burn these brambles out here. It's a wild blackberry patch, and ain't no fun to try to walk through or nothing else. Even though it is a pretty good bird and rabbit habitat, we're going to burn it down because this area right here would be a good spot for some garden beds. So this is the start of the day, and we'll see how progress goes. Okay, now as we're going through here, trying not to just clear cut everything. A lot of people would just come through here and bulldoze everything down and start over, but I'm trying to actually properly manage the wood lot that we have here. I mean, 16 acres of woods. There's a lot of potential there for using wood for building material, for growing mushrooms in mulch beds, for firewood, etc. So I'm trying to properly utilize what we have here. This particular area right here is kind of scrubby. It's not very old growth, so there's a lot of potential to thin out these trees and let specific ones grow to where they'll be more useful for you in the future. This here, these are hickories. There's one here, here. There's several of them through here. Also got some black cherry here. These big trees are oaks, but this hickory does pretty well if it's coppiced, which means you just cut it off close to the ground, and it'll actually regrow the next year. So that's good for making these type of poles right here for like lattices and stuff like that. The hickory bends really well when it's wet, and then when it dries out it becomes really strong and it lasts a long time. So I'm gonna use that for making different fences and barrier walls and stuff like that. But so right now I'm just kind of right here, I'm faced with the choice. For instance, okay, I got 3 trees. They're all too close together to really mature properly. These 2 are hickory and this one's oak. I prefer the hickory over the oak, so I'm gonna harvest this oak right here and probably use it for a pole, like a building pole. And out of these 2 hickories right here, if you're looking at them, see, they're actually both kind of leaning, so once they get too big they're probably going to fall over anyways. So I'm going to take the one that's leaning a little bit more, harvest that now, and just leave this one here to mature a little bit more before I harvest it. Okay, I got that tree felled. Now I'm just going to go through and delimit and cut it into a couple sections for poles. Okay, there you go, easy as that. Got a few poles for building fences and lattices, and left these two hickories here to mature a little bit more before they're harvested. And I'll get a couple poles out of that one too. So just going to kind of go through this area all through here and thin this out selectively just like that. Now I generally abhor burning the leaves because I feel like it's a waste of carbon and nutrients and soil structure. Like these leaves, when they mulch down, they produce a really excellent zone of health on the top of the topsoil, but this section right here specifically is so tangled with honeysuckle vines. See, these are all honeysuckle vines here, and there's a bunch of brambles and shit in here also. So burning the underbrush was a necessary sacrifice so that we can see what's going on and thin these trees out better. Now through here we got stands of winged elm. There's a bunch of that. There's a few hickories in here, and I believe a couple persimmons. So I'm just going to go through and thin these out. Get a pretty good amount of sunlight right here, except for the shade of that tree, so this stand will have a good chance to mature if we just thin it out. Alright, we pretty much got this area thinned out. We got all the brambles cut down. They're burning now. Most of the honeysuckle. And I just left a few trees with honeysuckle still growing on it. We got a nice number of cedars in here. I'm leaving some of the hickory. That one's a winged elm. A few of these are elms, and then I've actually got another small black cherry tree right here, so I'm going to leave that. Basically just kind of thin them out so you can still walk through there, and it'll be easier to harvest them when they get full size. Probably going to let most of these hickories and stuff grow into big poles before we cut them, and I'm not sure about the elms, but they're pretty good wood too. So this should be good for another 5 or 6 years now, except for just maintenance cleaning. There's another day of work complete. Got a whole bunch of underbrush burned on this side, and a whole bunch thinned out over there. Harvested a bunch of poles. We're gonna leave this big dead bastard to sit and smolder overnight. We were able to burn a few of these brambles out, but it looks like we're gonna have to get in there and maybe build another fire or two to burn the rest of them out, because these are blackberries here and they're just hell to try to cut out of there. And also it'd be good if it burned them and killed them a little bit so they don't come back so bad. But just gonna kind of let this die out and get back at it next week.